This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, the recording is now started. So, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening from whichever part of the world you are signing in from. So, before we started, let me introduce myself. Myself, Raj, and I'm a S4HANA certified, cloud certified manufacturing solution architect. I have overall 11 years of experience with SAP consulting, specifically in the area of manufacturing. When I say manufacturing, it is primarily production planning, quality management, plant maintenance, IBP, and some other, you know, core modules like plant maintenance and all. Apart from that, I also have worked with satellite applications and analytical developments also, including AI regenerative code developments and all. So that's a brief about my experience with PPDS. I have done 4 implementations so far. Embedded PPDS I'm talking, right? Since this demo is all about embedded PPDS, we will only talk about the embedded PPDS only. So on embedded PPDS, I have done 4 implementations. I have worked with a couple of supple projects also, and in my current projects also, I'm working as a solution architect for manufacturing scope. So hopefully looking for a great collaboration. Let me quickly share my screen before we head on to anything else. Let us have a quick overview of today's session. Basically, it is a demo sessions. We will be talking about the production planning and detailed scheduling overviews and from this course, once you enroll to this course, what you can expect from the course, what would be the course content, what would be the timeline and duration, and regarding the cost and other parts, you guys can connect with your representative. So I'm gonna share my screen and let me know if you can see my screen. Can someone
Yes, we
confirm
can.
if you guys can see my screen?
Yes, we can see this.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for confirming that. Okay, so before I head on to the production planning and detailed scheduling with SAP S/4HANA, maybe a quick, check with all of you. So you have come here for to the sessions for this detailed scheduling PPDS sessions primarily, but this PPDS is coming from APO, and APO has different submodules. PPDS was one of them. Now, SAP has decided to take on the PPDS part and embed it with SAP S/4HANA. Anyone knows what's the background of it? Why, it was embedded with SAP S/4HANA?
Uh, I will try to provide you the bit what I know that. So there was a issue with the transactional data sync between APO and ECC. That is the main reason they wanted to move it from APO to ECC, so that the scheduling and everything will happen. That is one aspect. The other aspect is that uh, uh, 70 to 80% planner and the, the plant users, they are very much used to see the MD04 screen in the and from the planning team who used to work on the plant is well versed on the APO side. So it is very difficult for them to go and navigate the APO transactions code. So that is why they wanted to utilize the ECC. That is why SAP suggested to go with the S4HANA with PPDS. These are the two major aspects which I am thinking. Might be some other things will be also there.
No worries, no worries. Thanks. Great insight about it. Anyone else have any other thought? Why was production planning and detailed scheduling embedded into SAP S/4HANA? It was a part of the simplification list. So everybody of us knows that it's fine. It's a part of simplifications. With every release, SAP is bringing new functionalities. They are trying to sort something. They're trying to modernize something, right, with the latest cutting edge technologies. And PPDS was one of them. But you know how the idea came to integrate PPDS taking out from APO into SAP S/4HANA. Anyone have any other thought?
Basically, hi, this is Bharat here.
I'm
It was an
sorry, your
easy
voice
use.
is very feeble. Could you please come maybe closer to the mic?
Yeah, how about now? Okay.
It's better. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this is Bharat here. So in my vision, see, earlier APO was a planning tool and ECC was an execution tool. So
Right.
when when the planning happens, the data gets shift, then it is a multiple system get interacted. Okay, so in order to have the planning and execution in the single system, I guess SAP has come up with. And one more thing is uh, cost. Managing two system for one planning, having is invested in huge cost. So in order to cut down the cost and foster interaction, so that the planning and execution will happen in the same platform. Since S4 uses its own database, the planning and execution will have take place in very quick moment, even the large scale of planning.
That's correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. I mean, I was willing to hear that part. Thankfully, you covered that. The major perspective why they wanted to integrate PPDS with S4HANA was the cost. Okay, any organizations, any plant where they use PPDS or APO or ECC separately, they you probably know that they used to have two different system. When it is two different system, maintenance cost, infrastructure cost, licensing cost, everything used to be separate, and that was a huge burden on customers. That is why I have personally seen many customers used to prefer a different planning tool, because to be honest, when it is complex planning, big organizations, when they have very different scenarios in terms of planning, SAP ECC is not just sufficient. The classic MRP is 40 years old tool, and something what MRP does that some planner can do with Excel sheet also. But when it comes to networking and integrating different plans, customers, contract manufacturing organizations, and planning them all together, SAP was lacking. And in place of having two different systems, customers used to prefer to go for different other planning tools like Kinexys and O9, Odo, something like that. So in order to maximize the customer base, SAP needed a pathway to reduce its cost, and to do that, that was the intention behind bringing back PPDS from APO to S4 HANA. And the secondary reason was APO used to have a concept called as live cache. How many of you know live cache? I know this is a demo sessions. I'm not questioning you, so don't take it wrongly. It is not about questions, but I just wanted to understand your perspective on basic scalability and basic understanding about the PPDS concepts. So PPDS, I mean, in the APO, they used to have something called as live cache. What is live cache? Now, in the laptop or desktop that you buy, you probably, if you look at the specification, you probably find something called as a cache memory. Okay, 12 MB, 24 MB, 30 MB, something like that. Some cache memory. What that cache memory does, it's a temporary memory which process your data faster. Okay, it's different than RAM. You may have a RAM of 16 GB, 24 GB, or even more than that, 8 GB, 4 GB, but your cache eventually will process your complex task and calculations within the system. All algorithm has to run in the live cache. So APO use concept called as a live cache. It's basically a something which is written in the SQL, structured query language. Even though SAP use ABAP platform, live cache is something which use the mode in order to perform the algorithmic calculations, because SQL is really fast when it is comes to mathematical calculations. So live cache was there in APO, and live cache is pretty similar to the in-memory database with S4HANA. In in-memory database, what we are doing, we have this database layer, and we have the presentation layer and application layer with SAP S4HANA. So they have merged the database layer and application layer. By clubbing that itself, you have an in-memory database. In-memory database is very class compliant with the live cache, meaning you don't need to have a separate setup, separate server, or you don't have to purchase anything extra to have the live cache. Live cache can leverage the benefit of in-memory database within S4HANA and perform those complex calculations. So it was easy to embed some part of planning into SAP S4HANA. It's not like in APO they only had the PPDS, they had other 4 components also. So we will take a look at it with our sessions today. Okay, so in today's sessions we will cover the primary things, like which is the agenda. On the agenda we will talk about the innovations, manufacturing innovations that is done in SAP S4HANA with respect to PPDS. We'll talk about the integrations. When I say integrations, it is primarily EWM, PPDS, IBP, all these integrations with S4HANA. So when I say EWM, IBP, everything gets integrated to PPDS itself, because all of these use the same set database. We'll talk about the embedded PPDS functionality and benefits of embedded PPDS on S4HANA. Also, at the end, we will go towards the table of content for the trainings. Okay, when I say table of content, like the topics that will be covering up during the sessions. All right, now let's take a look at the manufacturing innovations. So it's very straightforward. Most of you already know that this SAP S4HANA embedded PPDS is a next generation production planning tool in APO, which we otherwise called as advanced planning and optimizations tool, which incorporates the functionality of advanced capacity planning and heuristics for material planning. Okay, so in ECC also we have capacity planning like CM01, CM21, CM23, all those transaction codes, CM07 and all. So what's different in SAP advanced planning or APO or PPDS? So in classic MRP or classic capacity planning, when you plan something, defaultly system picks infinite scheduling. Okay, it never does anything on finite scheduling when you run MRP or something. But the moment PPDS is activated within S4HANA, even though you run MRP, system will automatically go for finite. Okay, that's the major difference. Secondary thing, when it comes to capacity planning, it just checking your resources, availability of your capacity against your resources. That's what the system does in terms of capacity planning in our old system, ECC system. But when it comes to PPDS systems, we have different heuristics. Heuristics are nothing but different algorithms which primarily helps you to solve some planning problems. So we have different algorithms to plan and achieve the results by minimizing the downtime against your resources and maximizing your outputs. PPDS is a tool of APO and which is now embedded in SAP S4HANA for planning, scheduling, consider the capacity of various resources. When I say resources, it could be just machine, it can be a handling resource, GR processing resource, it can be a calendar resource. Resource are nothing like, in ECC or in SAP system, what we call is a machine or work center, right? Or production line. Otherwise, those are called as resources in the APO side. In PPD side also, so that's the same. Apart from the machinery equipment, we have other resources like handling resources is there, processing resources is there, then calendar resources are there. Calendar resource will help you in scheduling according to your calendar availability. GR or handling resource will help you to schedule your operations based on your GR processing time, right? You might have maintained a GR processing time of 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So once the production is completed, it will take some time to get the process through the quality and documentation process, and then end of the day it will give you the output of when the product is going to be end in the production line. So those things are something which is not available with classic planning tool ECC. Even though in S4HANA without PPDS, in S4HANA also it's the same thing. Then they're having a simplification list in the logistic area to reduce the complexity of CIF interface. CIF is otherwise called as core interface. Okay, so what is a CIF? So in earlier days, if you go back 5 to 10 years back, we used to have APO system separately and ECC system separately. Even I have seen some people use SAP S4HANA also with separate APO system. So we have to integrate both the systems, right? Two different systems, SAP ECC system along with the APO systems. And when we talk about integrations, there is master data integration, there is transactional data integration. So all these integrations happens through the CIF interface. So earlier what we used to do in one system, suppose in ECC, we are creating some routing, some bill of material, some material master. We used to run this CIF or SIF to pass this data into SAP APO separately through background job or through ALU or iDocs or even RFC connections. We have different mode of channels through which we used to integrate them. Now, since it is within one system, even though we need SIP, we still need SIF, but it is not that complicated. It is very simplified. Okay, that's the purpose of SIF. Integrations made easy. Vintage IT solution rendered with SAP S/4HANA PPDS components that aims to increase the production efficiency with respect to the lowest possible cost. Live cache, which I was talking, right? Live cache is coordinated in the SAP HANA database. Live cache is faster since it runs on the memory of S/4HANA. It's faster. First thing, live cache is basically a SQL. You can call it as like a, it is written in SQL language, or the core functionality of live cache is written off with SQL language. It is primarily used to perform complex mathematical calculations. It's different than RAM. Okay, in your people call it as an in-memory database. That's a different thing. Live cache is different thing. Live cache will only help with the mathematical calculations. Data conversations made easy. Why? We have material master in the SAP side, and in PPDS side we have product masters. The moment you create a material master in SAP side, it gets integrated automatically to PPDS sides. So product master gets created immediately. You don't have to create a separate conversion program like LSMW, LTMC, something to get those integrated. No, we don't need a SIF for that. No, right? And then on top of that, we have added Fiori advantages. Although in SAP embedded PPDS, we don't recommend Fiori, use of Fiori apps, but still in some of the cases, Fiori is useful even though it is PPDS. Okay, Fiori is not fully developed with embedded PPDS. SAP is still working with Fiori, to enhance the Fiori applicability and functionality in terms of PPDS. Most of the time you will find your planner, your consultant will work with GUI only when it comes to PPDS. Let's move to the next slides. Integrations. Next thing is integration, right? So when we say integrations, PPDS is integrated tightly with S/4HANA because it is integrated. It's one database, one system. Remember one thing, even though it is one system, it is two different applications. Okay, they share same database, but these are two different systems. Even if you call it as a two different system, that's not going to be wrong. Okay, so PPDS is tightly integrated with EWM, other applications like core applications like SDMM, FICO, and other applications, core applications. It is integrated with embedded analytics, right? Anyone of you know there is a module called as SAC, SAP Analytics Cloud. Okay, so PPDS can be useful for analytic cloud also, or embedded analytics, which otherwise we called, in terms of building very nicely and detail oriented reports. Analytics is primarily nothing but the reports, right? Profit, loss, targets versus actuals and all. So PPDS also, there are different OData services available within the system. OData service is nothing but it's a complex ABAP module or ABAP functionality through which an outside system can access your data. Okay, so SAC, which I was calling SAP Analytic Cloud, it's a different solution that can be integrated to PPDS using OData service in order to extract data from PPDS and create amazing reports that will truly make a difference in terms of planning and scheduling. Also, PPDS is integrated to IBP. These all things are integrated to PPDS either through API, through RFC, or through OData services. Okay. Next, let's move to the next slide. So APO is descoping. SAP S/4HANA IBP is the future. Remember that. Okay, there are two solutions now going to be in 2027. APO is going to be descoped completely. It is going to sunset. So for that, they are coming up with SAP S/4HANA and IBP. So these four modules APO used to have. One is called a GATP, Global Available to Promise. PPDS, production planning and detailed scheduling, SNP, supply network planning, and DP, demand planning. So SAP is a very sophisticated place. It is not going to make a, like, the organization is not going to make a mistake in just replacing APO with any one application. So they wanted to afflict both S4HANA and IPP. What was the way? They had 4 solutions. Out of these 4 solutions, they came up with the idea, can we migrate or can we integrate 2 applications to one of the system and another 2 applications to another system? Yes, that is what they did. So this GATP and PPDS, these 2 applications, they integrated to S4HANA. GATP is called as advanced available to promise now, otherwise called as AATP. You might have heard a term called AATP, advanced available to promise. Okay, it's the same, it's the upgraded version of GATP. And PPDS, of course, it is integrated to S4HANA. SNP and DP, these 2 are not a part of S4HANA. These are a part of IBP. Okay, because IBP already had some functionality that they can carry out demand planning and supply network planning. So whatever the functionality was there with APO, they just got some addition to it. Okay, it's not like it is completely moved and IBP is even more stronger. No, IBP was already having that functionality, but still some of the organizations, they love to do the planning on the APO side. So SAP came up with solutions. We are going to sunset APO in 2027, so you have to use IBP. We have another applications IBP, use that and you will get all the same functionality. So that's the way they propose the customer acquisition, more customer acquisitions. They did not want their customers to move to different applications like Kinexys and all. Okay, so remember one thing, SAP S4HANA is a complete package and suite. IBP is a standard standalone application. It's not embedded with S4HANA. It's a cloud application, standalone, and the competitor of IBP is Kinexys. Okay, there is no competitor of S4HANA. Okay, even though people call it as a Oracle is also there, but Oracle is far away because they don't have PPDS, then EWM, then GATP, all these functionalities. Okay, they're simply the logistical applications. SAP S4HANA is a complete suite. Now next to move to the next.
Sorry, can I ask one small question here? What about the sir O9? So O9 is the competitor IBP or not?
O9 is a planning tool. Okay, it's a competitor. I don't deny. Even O9, Kinexys, Odo is also there. They are all planning tools. But when it comes to application scalability, I have seen where Kinexys leads the world. Okay, when it comes to scalability, performing complex planning situations, Kinexys is little superior than other applications. And when it comes to versatility, IBP is the leader. So there is like Kinexys is IBP, or O9 is little behind. It's there little behind.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, yeah. Any other questions anyone is having? Okay, now let's move ahead and try to see. Okay, it looks like this thing is a little messed up here. Give me 1 second. Hold on for a second. I'm sorry about that. It looks like this should be here. I'm sorry. Somewhere it was a little messed up. Okay, so when we talk about PPDS, it's basically 2 different things: production planning and different detailed scheduling. Production planning ensures your right product is available at the right place and right time. It basically helps with your quantity planning. Okay, quantity planning. Production planning helps with your quantity related queries. Detailed scheduling help with your scheduling of operation related issues. How production planning does? By the access of material needed for production. The primary look for production planning is to look for the materials that is needed for production and for material needed for customer. These are the 2 things which are input for production planning. So these things you will be able to relate if the moment when we go and explore the heuristic session. So as I said a few minutes back, heuristic is nothing but the algorithm. Okay, it's basically a mathematical calculations that heuristic does in the back end. and those calculations goes through the live cache. Now when we go to heuristic, there are different input objects available. If you want to do planning only, your input would be a material. Okay, so your material can be for a productions like a independent requirement or dependent requirement or reservations, or something coming, something that has a demand basically. So demand can come from independent requirement or dependent requirement, right? And demand can come from a customers also. Similarly, if you want to plan your operations, you can do that by the help of your available capacity, by the help of your material availability, and by the help of your resource optimization. So when you perform a heuristic run that solve your scheduling related issues, your input would be a resources, your input would be material availability parameters, and your input would be going to some other factors which are resource related, means machine or equipment related. It cannot be material related. Okay. Benefit of embedded PPDS: direct access or local access to metadata and business data like master data and transactional data, meaning easy reuse of data. You don't need a SIF. Secondary thing, PPDS uses live cache, which is the integral part of S4HANA. Just one database to manage and reduced complexity of SIF. Now let's take a look at the benefit of embedded PPDS on S4HANA. So we already discussed this, right? The first thing that somebody was talking, cost. That was the major thing. So you could see the last point here I have mentioned, because as a planning consultant, our focus is to focus on the planning. Our focus is to stay track on the planning practices, right? For us, infrastructure cost does not matter the most. It is primarily for the organization, right? But anyway, it is also a factor to consider. So embedded PPDS helps business with complex planning calculations which MRP is not capable of. Neither MRP nor CBP nor time-phased planning, nothing. Even like the classic other forecasting, sales and operation planning and all, no. They cannot handle the planning levels or in-depth planning level of depth that embedded PPDS can do. Embedded PPDS help customers to reduce back and forth step involved during data transfer in SCM process, no SIF, and other benefits are like high capacity utilization. This is the major benefit of embedded PPDS. It helps you to optimize your resources. It helps you to lower your inventory and stock level. Now you might be thinking, low inventory and stock level, what does it mean? How it is going to help? So inventory is always costly. If you go to any good organizations where, I mean, they are very orchestrated, you will see they never run out of inventory. They never goes excess on stock, be it raw material or be it produced material. They will produce something, immediately they will release to the market. Similarly, they will buy some material and they will immediately use it. Why? Because material is always costly. Not just the material, to handle the material you need some storage resources. Pharmaceutical company and all, if you go, the moment they produce a drug product, immediately they will release it to the market because they need cold storage and all to store that. And storing an inventory is cost. Your financer will not be happy with it. So PPDS will help you to manage low inventory without any interruptions or stock level. Even though it is low inventory, but it runs very smoothly. So you will buy something, you don't need extra storage, you don't need extra space, you don't need extra equipment, right? To manage those inventory or stock. End of the day, it affects cost. PPDS will help with on-time delivery. It will help you with short manufacturing cycle times or order lead time. It will, like, there are different techniques available within PPDS, like called as optimizations, block planning, and then something called as a campaign planning. Different tools are available through which a planner can realize the best possible solution, and they can reduce their lead time. Okay, optimization is a technique through which they can reduce setup time. Although to produce anything you need setup time, right? Means suppose you are running a machine with type A product. Now you got a requirement to run to type B product. So when you switch from type A to type B, you may have to heat your machine, or you may have to do a little bit cleaning activity, maintenance activity on your resources. So optimization is a technique. Similarly, other techniques are also available. I'm just throwing an example. So using optimization, your planner can minimize that setup time to run your machine more effectively, more efficiently. Less master data complexity compared to traditional and ECC and APO integrations, because here it is everything lively integrated. Embedded system reduces the cost of infrastructure and maintenance. This is the first thing that we discussed during the beginning of this session. And the other part, as I said, master data maintenance is simplified. So integration is a different thing. When I say master data complexity compared to ECC and APO used to be simplified, that is different thing, and master data maintenance also different thing. Okay. So when I say transaction data is directly integrated through SAP, master data is not integrated through core interface. It is directly created within the PPDS the moment it gets available within S4HANA system. So I'll show some example in the system. Before I go into the system, anyone is having any example or any questions, any query? Okay, I'll take it as a no. Let's head on to the system right now. So I have one of the system here available. Probably this is the system you will also get to practice. So I'm gonna show some example. Okay, the first thing within PPDS we call it as a locations. Like there are different terms that we use, and as I said from the beginning, in PPDS 90% of the time you have to work with GUI, because your Fiori applications with respect to PPDS accessibility is not enough matured. I'm not denying you can't use it, you can use it, but the functionality is very limited. That's why 90% of the time, even today's day also, or even you I mean, with my personal experience I'm telling, we are prescribing or we are suggesting the customer to go with GUI when it is a PPDS. For other things they can still use Fiori. Okay, so when it comes to PPDS, the first thing is that we check our infrastructure. Your infrastructure has to be ready. As I said from the beginning, life cache is one of the parameter. Okay, so we use the acronym or the prefix before the transactions called as /n/SAP APO, and then / by the transaction codes. Like for an example, if I want to change a material type within SAP, what I will do is I will go to OM17 or OM19 or OMS2, something like that. I'll put this transaction code and it takes me to the material type transaction. Similarly, if I put some other transaction like called as OM17, so it takes me to the action related to Kanban processing. Similarly, if I put a transaction code as OM13, it takes me to the control key, stock transport control key, like which we use in the purchase order, to that screen. It is the classic ECC related stuff. But before this transaction code, if I put a prefix of /SAP APO, not everything is associated with SAP APO. Okay, few transactions. Before this OM13 or OM17, if I put a prefix of /n /SAP APO /OM13. OM13 is my transaction code. The moment you put /n/SAP APO, then / it takes you to the APO side of application. The moment you hit enter, it takes you to the APO side of applications. As a PPDS consultant, when you get a system, the first thing you have to do is you have to come and analyze the live cache. Okay, this is the server. So when we start the sessions, when you join, enroll for the session, we'll talk more on details. This is the first thing somebody checks. We check component release, we check this plugins is activated or not, LC app, and then we check other things like the live cache is initialized or not, then the SQL database check is activated or not, some of the background jobs are running or not, LCA traces, LCA checks are activated or not. These are the things that we check for the first thing. Secondary thing, once the setup is ready, and setup is not that easy. Okay, it is easy, relatively easy. I'm not saying it's too complex, but it is not very user friendly or very easy to learn something. Okay, it takes time, you have to practice. So once your setups are ready, usually what will happen is the moment you create some transactional data, it gets integrated to PPDS immediately. For an example, if I want to create a material master, I will go to MM01 transaction code. In MM01 transaction code, if I have to take the industry is equal to mechanical and say material type, I'm gonna take FERT. The moment I create a material here, say I'm gonna go just maintain the MRP 1, 2, 3, 4 views. So there is a MRP type which is given new. here for this PPDS purpose called as X0. This is the MRP type that we use when we embedded S4HANA with PPDS or IPP or something. Okay, this what the how this MRP type and all work that we will be covered during your actual sessions. So we cover all these material views because these are planning related parameters and it affects your PPDS planning also. Then you have a view available here is advanced planning as a part of S4HANA innovations. The moment it's SAP, this advanced planning checkbox is activated on the advanced planning view, system try to push this material to PPDS site. Immediately it will push. Okay, so we don't need a separate CIF job. When it used to be ECC system and APO system separately, after creating the material master, we used to run a background job, or if you know something called as a change pointer, ALE change pointer. Through ALE change pointer or IDOCs also, we used to transfer these data from one system to another system. It was not used to be seamless. Now it is seamless. The moment you create a product master here, immediately it gets integrated to PPDS. Immediately, okay, with just fraction of seconds, it gets integrated to PPDS. Through which parameter? Through BTE indicator. Okay, again, what is BT indicator? That those things will get covered in the future sessions. This material get created. If I wanted to check this material now, something called as product view. We have something called as a mat1. Okay, to check the product. So we can simply take that product which is created and take to this product master. Product master is something which is available in the PPDS, and plant is always called as a location here. In PPDS, plant is called as location. Okay, not just plant, other applications are also there which is called as location. So to check the locations, you can go to the drop down menu here and check all the locations. How to create locations, how many type of locations available. There are multiple type of locations available. You can see this second thing here called as, the first thing here called as a location, the second thing here that you see LT, it is called location type. So you can see something called as a 1021, something called as 1001, something called as 1005. So location type determines what kind of location it is. Okay, there are different type of locations available. Manufacturing plants are called as 1001 location type. There are distribution centers available, there are storage yard available, storage locations available, different type of locations available. All those locations are also a master data for PPDS. Before you create anything, you have to create the location master first, and once the location master is created, we create other master data like product master, resource master, and other stuff. So we are talking about the product master now. What we did, we just created a material master. Immediately we are just checking now if it gets created or not. Okay, so you can come to this transaction code and simply put your location, and product location is the plant as I said. So you can see it's showing. If it is not there, it's not gonna show. Click on this display, it's gonna show you the details of the product master. Okay, and anything that you have maintained, that you have created, you will see that. Similarly, other master data like resource master, location master, everything is created. For location master also, we have transaction codes called as LOC3, where we create locations. Okay? Let me just give you a glimpse here. For example, if somebody wanted to know what type of locations available, you can simply go here and see 1001 type is production plant, distribution center, shipping point, transportation zone. As I said from the beginning, PPDS is way above and beyond than classic MRP or planning tools. These many type of locations it can handle. Your MRP cannot handle these many locations or these many things. MRP only can deal with your plant. Okay, different type of locations available. Then in terms of other master data models available, setup group, setup matrix, other servers like optimization servers and all, profiles, time profile, work area, all those things are available, which will be covered during your actual session. Okay, now anyone is having any other query in terms of what I just saw? If not, we will just go and check what all are the schedule, how your schedule will look like for the coming sessions. Okay, I'll take it as a no now. Let's go ahead and have a look at the session schedule. So this is how your schedule will look like. Okay, starting from the beginning, we'll talk about the introductions to PPDS, initial setup and basic configurations. So initial setup and basic configurations mean, as I said from the beginning, PPDS, it's not just like, like classic core modules like PPMMQM where you just go into the system and create your configurations. No, it's not that. You have, as a functional consultant, you have to work with your basis team to set up the infrastructure. Infrastructure setup is also a part of you. So they will simply the server for you, and as a consultant, functional consultant, you have to do live cache analysis, live cache enablement, RFC connections, and then PPDS activations. A lot of things you have to do. All these things will be covered in the beginning sessions. The timing here mentioned as a 4 hour. This is a tentatively time when with 100% efficiency. When I say 100% efficiency, something that the trainer covers, candidates are able to understand or take it immediately. That is, then it is 4 hour. Sometimes it might take 5 to 6 hours also. Why? Because depending on the number of students in the sessions, number of candidates in the sessions, and how quickly you guys are grabbing the things. If you guys quickly grabbing, maybe we may take just 4 hours. But if you need a little bit more depth, then, or you need a little bit more time, it might be 6 hours also, 7 hours also. So once the setups are done, basic configurations are done, we go on to the master data. When I say master data, we create location master, product master, resource master, PDS, product data structure, transportation lane, planning version. All of you know that in S4 HANA, production version is mandatory, right? But do anyone know why production version is mandatory on this call? Anyone on this call? I see Varat and Rahul. Guys, you know why the production version is mandatory?
In order to know which release
Production version is mandatory because without production version we cannot do the planning, because that will only determine that which line we are going to manufacture that particular product.
Mhm. So in ECC, when we used to run ECC, right, there also we
Mm-hmm.
used to have production version was not mandatory in ECC. We used to have BOM routing multiple points. So we used to plan it. What's the difference then? How production version will make the impact, and why was it mandatory? Without production version also in ECC, we used to plan it. So
Without
this,
production version we can plan, yes,
yes, I
but
mean, if you have ECC system access, maybe you can check it sometime. We will
uh-huh.
cover that. Don't worry. During the sessions, actual sessions, we will cover it. But I'm just trying to give a hint here. This PDS is a master data which is required in PPDS, and this is the reason behind production version being mandatory in S4HANA. Okay, because of this
Yes,
only it is mandatory. And how
yeah.
what impact PDS brought, we will talk about it. Okay, in some time I have seen in some of the, even I have taken interviews, and I've checked this. Okay, so people used to question why production version is mandatory. In ECC also it was running well, everybody was working, but here in S4HANA they made it mandatory because of PDS. Then why what PPDS did that it became mandatory? We will talk about those things in the upcoming actual sessions. Okay, and then we will talk about other master data like transportation lane, like STO, STR, and all that we use. For that we use transportation lane, planning version, and models. Once these basic informations are completed, we'll talk about product view, detail scheduling board, time profile, work area. These are the very advanced level of topics that will help you to understand that system in more better way, much better way. We will take a deep dive completely into the systems. We'll talk about finite scheduling, manual adjustment, block planning. It's a different tool, different planning. Majorly in the automobile industry or where they do batch-based planning, they use block planning. In automobile industry, it's very common. Okay, just one example, I'm throwing it some light. You might be knowing that every automobile company, be it Tata, Mercedes, Maruti Suzuki, Hyundai, anything, they manufacture cars with different colors: red, yellow, blue, black. So just think that if in a day, if they go with randomly red color, blue color, black color, how many hours they will lose in setting up the machine? Because once they run blue color, on the vehicles, they have to clean it, they have to completely do a reset, then they have to go and put a white color or a black color like that, right? So randomly if they go, that will lose their thing. Instead they go with block planning model, through which they will create a block of blue color for 5 days. So for the entire 5 days, they will their production will be only blue color. For the next 6 day or next third day, they will go with the white color like that. So batch wise, they will create blocks, and based on those blocks only, the requirement will auto get filled. Okay. Planning with alternate resource. So when the primary resource or primary machine is fully occupied, we use this technique to identify similar kind of machine, okay, which can process that kind of same operations. You may have 100 of machine, but not 100 machine can perform that particular operations. That particular operations can be done maybe in 2 or 3 machines. So once that machine is suppose got breakdown or something happens, system will automatically switch your demands to the other machine. Okay, again here it is mentioned as a 2 hour, but in actual I have seen it takes around 3 to 4 hours. We will talk about heuristics. Heuristics is mentioned as a 2 hour. It is not less than a 5 hour session. Why it is mentioned as a 2 hour? Because when we cover the overall perspective and with, as I said, 100% efficiency, it can take 2 hours. But actually if we go a little bit deep, and if you need a little bit time, because with my experience, training experience, I have been seeing that people jumping from SAP S/4HANA to learn PPDS takes a little bit of time, because as a planning consultant, there are a couple of things which is completely new to us, and it is absolutely fine to take time understanding all those concepts. It's very required. We have alerts available within PPDS. Alert is nothing but the notifications. So when there is an issue happening within the system can notify you through a background job, through a email, through a workflow. Different mode of channels are available. Through a SMS or something, system can help you to identify that issue. It can be a planning issue, it can be a database failure issue, it can be infrastructure related issue also. Similarly, we do SLAD planning. SLAD planning is nothing but the self-life expiry planning. In pharmaceutical industry, we do it very much. In classic MRP, SLAD is not available, not at all available. So when you plan something in the system will simply look into your, how much is your demand. Your demand, say for an example, you have a demand of 100 quantity, and you have a requirement of 50 quantity, or you have a requirement of 150 quantity. So what system will do, and you have a stock, just for an example. Okay, so say stock 20 quantities there, and you have a demand of 100 quantity. 20 quantity stock is there. The system, what it will create a planned order or purchase requisitions. Okay, I'll put as the planned order purchase requisition, something like that. When you run MRP for 80 quantity, simply it will create for 80 quantity. So this stock quantity which is available, it will never check on this stock what is the expiry date and if this product is expired or not. So in pharmaceutical industry, what happens, customer will always look for shelf life expiry date. Even when you go to buy a medicine, you look for expiry date, right? Like that product should have a 6-month expiry date or 10-month expiry date. Maybe just for a situational scenario, out of this 20 stock, there are 5 batch or 5 stock which are having less than 1 month of expiry date. And then other 15 are having more than 6 months of expiry date. Okay, so what happens, when you plan with MRP, system will not look into India's expiry date. Simply it will calculate everything, and then okay, 20 is there, remaining 80 we have to produce. But when it comes to PPDS, it will check your requirement against the demand. Your customer is saying I need 100 days of or 180 days of expiry date, so it will only plan for this 15, remaining 5 it will include. It will create a planned order purchase equations for 85 quantities. There are different algorithms available, different logic available. I just throw a simple example, very simple example. Okay, this is just an example, short and the quickest example of SLAD planning. Similarly, we have a tool to perform optimization. Optimization, as the name itself is saying, optimize means maximize your output. So we have different technique available with the help of setup group, setup matrix, transition matrix. We try to minimize the setup time. We try to minimize the cost of the production. For that, we activate this SAP optimization server. Okay, within PPDS server, there is a separate server available called as optimizer server. We have to activate that and we have to do that. Okay, so for that, again, it's going to take a little bit time. At the last, we'll talk about campaign planning, which closely takes around 2 hours of sessions, 1 to 2 hours of sessions. So on an average, it is mentioned as a 26 hours of sessions, but it takes around, okay, roughly around 30 to 35 hours of sessions. Okay. Any questions? Okay. I will take it as a no then. So with this, we are done with the demo. So I've tried to cover a little bit basic about what's the training content of PPDS, what is PPDS, what's the whole benefit and all. Why PPDS, that also we covered, because APO is descoping, and I am looking forward to have the real sessions very soon. Unless you guys have any questions, we can talk. Right, I'll take it as a no then. Yes, Bharat, I saw you have unmute. Anything you want to say or anything you want to
No, no,
talk?
okay, thanks for your time. Okay, it was a good explanation.
I'm sorry, your
And
voice is very feeble.
okay, sorry. It was a good explanation. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. So we will connect back. Maybe your representative will touch back with you. Okay. Anything related to course content and all, you guys can reach to Sana also anytime, and she will take input from me and update with you guys.
Sure, definitely. And when you talk, I hear lots of noise. I don't know what is that noise. Oh, it
Noise?
feels like, yeah.
Not sure. Do you still hear noise? Maybe some technical glitch, but I'm completely on a I'm on a guys. Tell me one thing. Are you seeing my like? Did you saw my SAP screen or not?
No, I did not see you on SAP screen. I was only able to see
Oh
your
my god.
presentation.
Oh my god. Sorry. I was just thinking about it. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'll represent. Okay. Now are you seeing my entire screen? Maybe
Yes.
I shared just a slide. Okay, so this is going to be a topic. Okay, these all topics we will be covering up: basic and configurations, initial setups, master data, and transactional data. We'll talk about product view, detailed scheduling view. Then we'll talk about finance scheduling, manual adjustment, block planning, and planning with alternate resources. We'll talk about heuristics, alerts, SLED planning, optimizations, campaign planning. Unfortunately, while explaining this, I did not share the screen. I apologize for that. It was a maybe I did not notice that. But anyway, so your the session's gonna take around 30 to 35 hours of sessions in actual, providing that we will have 1 hour session daily. Okay, we can have sessions during weekends also, we can have during weekdays also, depending on your preference and my availability. So we can talk about that later point of time once you confirm in enrolling for the course. And I also did present on something on the SAP screen also, but maybe because of I did not share it, or because of some confusion, I was not able to, you guys didn't see that. Okay, so I was talking about this location type and all. So we have different type of locations like production plant, transportation lane, shipping point. All these location types are available. We discuss this during the sessions. We will cover different type of locations for planning. We will create master data. I did create a master data just now. I created a material master for this is the material master I created, 64. And then I activated the advanced planning checkbox in the advanced planning view, which is available. But remember one thing: without activating your advanced planning setup server, if you activate this one, you will get a dump, nothing else. Okay, it's not going to be successful. System will simply roll back this material number immediately. You will get a dump. So since in this server it is all activated, we can create materials and we can see those materials using this transaction code called as slash SAP APO mat1. Okay, so slash SAP APO is the prefix in SAP. In order to navigate to any transactions within PPDS, you have to use this slash n slash SAP APO / then the transaction code. That will take you to the PPDS side of transactions code. You have to use that prefix. So we can see our product master available here. This is called as product master. Similarly, for live cache analysis, we use a transaction code called as /n /SAP APO OM13. So a PPDS consultant sometime may say, I'm checking my live cache in OM13. So if he is a PPDS guy, remember you have to use the acronym or prefix called as OM13 in the beginning. If you don't, see, it is taking me to the control key of stock transfer, which is nothing but the STO, STR, purchase requisitions kind of scenario within classic ECC system or S4HANA system. It is not the PPDS side of thing. But the same thing I'm going to do with this prefix /n /SAP APO /OM13. Now you could see that it is taking me to a different transaction code. So when as a consultant you begin your journey with SAP S4HANA embedded PPDS, the first thing that we do is live cache analysis. So during sessions we will cover how to check this plugins, how to check the components, what all things, what all difference they make, how to check, what all checks you have to do. All these lights has to be green. Live cache has to be initialized, LCA traces has to be initialized, LCA checks has to be initialized, RFC connections has to be initialized. So we will check and cover all these things during your sessions as a part of your initial setup. Till the time these are not set up, till the time these are not activated, you will not be able to use PPDS. Even though I've seen some people, what they do, there is a node available in SPRO. What they do is they will simply activate this advanced planning checkbox here in the basic setting. You have something called as activate advanced planning and scheduling. If you simply activated it here, there is a checkbox available. This I will activate this in the configurations, and I will activate the advanced planning checkbox in the material master. That will help me to create a product master. No, you will simply get dump, nothing else. So as I said, live cache you have to activate. RFC connection, those configurations will be covered in the beginning, then followed by transactional data, master data configurations. So all the level of advanced topics will be covered. Apart from this, like to the best of my knowledge, these all are the topics that you will be you need to know basically in any one of the PPDS project. Any PPDS project you go, you will find all these topics. Okay, maybe some less topic you will find, but these are the topics that you need to know. Apart from this, if you have any other thing that you want to cover, that also you can let me know. We can cover that as well. Okay, so I'll share this schedule with the coordinator, and she will share this with you guys. Okay, any other queries, guys?
Thank you. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
No, yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Sure.
Rajesh.